I'm literally standing on a waterfall. That is how crazy this is. This place is insane. Good morning, guys. It's 7:30 a.m. We've got a bus to catch in order to go see some 1,000-year-old ruins, so let's go ahead and get going.
Buenos días.
Una persona.
Una persona. Son dos pagos. El ingreso al Parque Nacional, que son 90 y 80 para la zona arqueológica.
Well, after a very long and complicated process, we are about to enter the ruins. It's a little bit complicated because the bus drops you off at the ticket booth, which is about 2 kilometers away from the actual ruins site. And at the ticket booth, you have to pay twice. You have to pay 90 pesos for the entrance fee into the national park, and then you have to pay another 80 pesos to enter the ruins. But we've got the ticket, we've got the national park entrance, everything is settled, and we're about to enter the national park, into the ruins.
Es muy importante, usa el cubreboca en todo el recorrido. Sí. Por favor.
Ahí su ticket. Right behind me are one of the most ancient Mayan ruins in all of Mexico that was sort of eaten up by the jungle hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Welcome to Palenque. Few things to note about Palenque first. Palenque is a little, well, not little, but it was one of the most important Mayan cities back in the 900 AD, but it started originally like 150 BC. The original name of this town was La Camja, but for some reason it's Palenque today. But this was like a center, like one of the capitals of the Mayan jungle here in the southern part of Mexico. A lot of the pyramids that we're going to see today were built in the 900 AD, and it was a very powerful place as well. It ruled all the way until, you know, Tabasco and Veracruz. So this was a really important cultural and political center of the Mayan civilization. But we're just heading up the stairs right now. We've already gone through the entryway. There are tons of guides offering their services here, but honestly, from what I understand, if you just read the signs, you're probably going to get the same information anyway. So let's go ahead and start exploring the pyramids. Right in front of me right here is the Temple of the Skull. The reason it's called that is because there's apparently like a relief of a rabbit skull if you climb all the way up to the top. But unfortunately, it's completely blocked off. But this place is very, very ancient. It's been around for hundreds of years, and apparently they were saying that it seems like, according to archaeological evidence, there was already someone living here beneath the pyramid before they built the pyramid. But what they also found was that a bunch of people were buried under here, and there were tons and tons of pieces of jade, which is supposed to be in the museum here at Palenque. But so far, I'm really impressed. This place is kind of like eaten away by the jungle. The jungle seems to have taken over the temples. It kind of reminds me of Angkor Wat in Cambodia, and definitely way better than Teotihuacan. So far, it's a thumbs up for me. Right behind me is this huge tomb, and the tomb is actually not of anyone who was Mayan. It's this guy called Alberto Ruz Lulier. And why he's here? He was the guy who discovered this place. He's actually the guy who broke into the pyramid and found the tomb that was underneath, and the mosaics and all the masks and everything. He was the guy who actually like discovered it. So that's why he's buried here. But right behind me, this is probably the biggest symbol of all of Palenque. This is the Temple of Inscriptions. Well, the reason that this temple behind me is called the Temple of Inscriptions is because it had some inscriptions. Apparently these are like 4 of the biggest Mayan text inscriptions in all of like Mayan history that they've been able to find. And they're inside, and they talk about this king called King Pakal, who's like one of the most important guys in the history of Palenque. And apparently it shows like his life, his birth, all of that stuff is in there. Now the layers there are 9 layers that go up into the pyramid, but unfortunately we can't climb any of them today. Everything is just absolutely closed because of the pandemic. But it is like the main temple here in Palenque. It is so important. But I wish I could climb up. You can actually see on the top there are some carvings on the outside. There are some reliefs. But you know, you're seeing it from far away. I'm not exactly sure what it's of, but it is stunning. It is already like sort of restored a little bit because there was some destabilization going on, but the pyramid itself is still absolutely amazing. After a flight of stairs up onto a little hill, we come to this place, which is the Plaza of the Crosses. This is the religious center of Palenque. So everything down there was like temples and palaces and where people would live. But up here is where you have all the religious temples dedicated to God. So that temple right there is dedicated to the god of the sun. There's another one over there dedicated to corn, and another one dedicated to water, which, by the way, there's actually a lot of water that runs through here. There's rivers and streams and everything. But all these temples are dedicated to gods, and inside the carvings, I mean, I wasn't able to go inside because of the pandemic, but usually you can. But even from the outside, you can see how beautiful these carvings are. The reliefs on the tops of the temples are just amazing. It's really just as beautiful as the carvings I've seen in Angkor Wat. So I am currently very impressed. I mean, at Teotihuacan, they didn't have any markings at all. Here, at these temples, they're just so well sort of decorated and ornamented with all these like little reliefs and everything. I am really impressed by this place so far, but we're going to continue on and explore this archaeological site. So right behind me over there that's the Temple of Inscriptions, but over here on this side is the Palace of the Kings. The kings would live here. You've got a football court right in front, right behind me, that green grass field. But this is the temple. It's a very big temple. It's not a very tall temple, but I think it may be because a lot of the rocks have fallen off. But this is where the kings would be. It was sort of like a very protected, I mean, obviously as a well-protected site. But I'm just quite shocked that it's still so well preserved today. Usually I think you can climb inside, but because of the pandemic, once again, it's closed. And finally, near the end of the tour here in Palenque, we've come to these temples here. These are the Grupo Norte, or the group of temples in the northern part of Palenque. They're like a group of 5 pyramids together, 5 temples, but they assume that may have something to do with like the ruling class or something like that, but nobody's absolutely sure. It's not as big or as tall as the Temple of Inscriptions or the other temples on the other side, but for me, I'm just still shocked by how well preserved this place is. There are some decorations on the top, but it's really cool. And just like that, we have left the main sort of archaeological complex area. You can tell by all the food stands, the tourist stalls, the throngs of tour groups coming in and their annoying little flags and everything. But remember that we not only paid for the archaeological site, but we also paid for like the jungle, the rainforest. And I think there's a waterfall that we can check out. So I'm gonna go see if we can do that. But if not, we're just gonna head back into the city of Palenque. At the archaeological site, there are some waterfalls behind there, but they're closed because of the pandemic. A lot of things are closed because of the pandemic. So we're gonna find our way and head back into Palenque City. I have to say, so far Palenque has, I mean, we finished our tour of Palenque. It's amazing. It's almost like, you know, like a jungle took over a temple. It kind of reminds me a lot of Angkor Wat and Cambodia, which is without a doubt my favorite temple in the entire world. So if you do come to Mexico, Palenque is highly, highly recommended, and it's way better than Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan was terrible. There was nothing there. It was a hot sun and everything. There was basically nothing to see except for like rubble. But here, it's well preserved. It's nice. You've got carvings, you've got culture, you've got a rainforest vibe. It's amazing. All right, let's go ahead and head back into the city of Palenque. And a quick 20-minute, 15-minute bus ride, and we're back in the center of Palenque. The plan for today is actually we're going to be leaving Palenque, so I'm going back to my hostel and picking my stuff up so we can head out. Well, it's a little bit later and we've got all of our stuff. As you can see, we got all the bags. It's heavy, but we are ready to go on an adventure, so let's go ahead and head to the sort of bus stop and see where we're going to go. So the van, the colectivo, just dropped us off right at the highway back there. And now we've got a little bit of like a 1.5 kilometer walk down with all these bags here. It's not ideal, but apparently it's gonna be worth it. I really hope it's gonna be worth it because it is tiring, but let's go ahead and hopefully make it down soon. Finally made it. What we're actually doing is we're staying a night here, so I've got this entire cabin to myself. It isn't actually that pricey. It was about 290 pesos a night. I've stayed at hostels that cost more than 290 pesos a night, so this is extremely affordable. The best part is that this place is the waterfall of Misol-Ha, and the waterfall is right behind me. So let's go ahead and start exploring this place. Well, literally like a 2-minute walk from the cabin, we've made it. Welcome to the waterfall of Misol-Ha. Well, this waterfall is definitely a waterfall. It's massive and it's really, really strong. It's probably one of the most powerful waterfalls I've seen here in Mexico. Now the thing is, the water at the bottom is not blue, it's kind of brown color, and that's because it's the rainy season. But if you were to come during the dry season, you might not even get water. The bottom will be blue, but you wouldn't get water, so it's kind of like a trade-off. What's really interesting about this waterfall is that you can actually go behind it as well. So that's exactly what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna go behind the waterfall and check it out. This has got to be, without a doubt, one of the craziest waterfalls I've been to. You can go behind it, but you're gonna get soaked. Like, I have not even dipped into the pool yet, and I'm just completely soaked. I think I'm gonna come back around here with the GoPro because this camera just got drenched. I tried to film it, but halfway through it just got way too wet and I just gave up because it is insanely wet. I mean, I'm literally standing on a waterfall. That is how crazy this is. This place is insane. But we're gonna cross back over to a place where the water is a little bit calmer because this is just incredible. Well, and just like that, here in the mountains of Chiapas, Mexico, the sun has set. It's getting dark here and I'm gonna head back to my cabin. What an amazing day. I mean, we started off the day visiting 1,000-year-old ruins in Palenque, which in my opinion is probably one of the best ruins you can find in Mexico. The carvings, the preservation, and that sort of jungly vibe. You don't get that at Teotihuacan. I would say Teotihuacan is just a scam. Go to Palenque instead because it's beautiful. It's actually a pretty big area, much bigger than I expected, and it's absolutely stunning. And then obviously after that, this waterfall right behind me, Misol-Ha. The water is not blue. It's not blue water, but it's the scenery here. We're in the middle of the Mexican jungle. That's what makes it amazing, and that is why I came all the way here to Chiapas, Mexico. Anyways, I'm gonna go back to the cabin. I'm gonna have some dinner, probably just gonna be some snacks, and then I'm gonna call it a day. So I'm gonna end the vlog right here. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more food and travel videos. Tomorrow is gonna be a whole new exciting day here in Mexico. So make sure to stay tuned and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye guys.